Okay, so thank you, Joyce. I appreciate that introduction. She's right. I do wear many hats. So today I'm going to talk specifically about the air monitoring that we performed for Faulkner County Bucket Brigade. I want to give a disclaimer. I am not an expert. I work with experts from around the country. I use biologists, toxicologists, chemists from across the country to take the data that we collect, interpret it, and then put it into a form that is easily understandable for the public. This is a really long presentation, so I'm going to keep this short. You're going to see me skipping over some slides. But I want to tell you a little bit about how Faulkner County Bucket Brigade got started. We were actually in response to a lot of air pollution that had been occurring in the Fayetteville Shale. So this project was not intended to be used in Mayflower. We were lucky enough that we had some funding left, that when the spill occurred, we were able to react and go and take some samples in those first few days to have something to look at, to see what were we finding in the air and how should we approach the public in educating and informing them and their families on what they were being exposed to. The goal of the Faulkner County Bucket Brigade is to monitor community health and provide information to the community so that they can become an active stakeholder in the process of community monitoring. We were established in November and were trained in the chain of custody procedures and how to perform graph sampling techniques. There were 7 of us that were trained, and then we began distributing pollution logs to the community, which we brought some over on the table today that you can take with you. It's a good tool to be able to identify what you are being exposed to if you live near industrial activity or anything that's producing air pollution. It's an easy to assemble design. I brought the bucket. It's actually kind of hidden. This is the bucket that we use to perform graph sampling. It breaks down chemicals into part per billion range, and it tests for 70 gases or volatile organic compounds, VOCs, and 20 sulfur compounds. We responded on March 29th to the Mayflower spill. We collected one sample. We responded on March 30th, the day after the spill. We collected the first sample at the site where the majority of the oil was collecting, so near the drainage ditch before it went under the interstate, headed over into the Cove area. That's where the vast majority of it was collecting at that time, and where first responders were working really hard to try to get to kind of collect in an area where they could vacuum it out. On April 2nd, we took the second sample, and on April 3rd, we took our third and final sample, and this is a map of where we took our samples at. There's sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. This is a picture of where we took the first sample, sample 2, and sample 3. Now, when we analyze these results, like I told you, we have to get food scientists appropriate to be able to identify these. We use a EPA-certified lab. And the results from the first sample that we found was a mixture of 30 chemicals. Each chemical has its own property and health effects. And what we wanted to touch on and stress to the public was we don't know what the cumulative effects of these compounds do. There's a lot of information out there, but something that I really want all of you to take away today is that we are in the era of what I call the frontier of air monitoring. I don't want to say it's brand new, but it is a